Today we talk about a big and worrying story from South Africa. Recent testimony by KwaZulu-Natal Police Chief Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi has named former Police Minister Bheki Cele in connection with allegations that point to deep problems inside the country's criminal justice system. These claims have forced citizens, politicians, and the media to ask hard questions about corruption, politics, and the rule of law. This video looks at what was said, where it fits in history, who the key people are, and what might happen next. For many years South Africa has struggled with crime, political fights, and claims that parts of the state are captured by private interests. The police service has been central to those fights. Over time, high-profile scandals and court cases have shown how police, prosecutors, and politicians can clash. Earlier inquiries and news reports created a backdrop where any new accusation is likely to be taken seriously. The Madlanga Commission of Inquiry was set up to examine allegations of criminality, political interference, and corruption in the criminal justice system, and it has gathered wide public attention. Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi's recent testimony to commissions and to Parliament brought new details into the open. He spoke about possible links between senior police figures and people accused of crime, and he pointed to evidence such as phone records and alleged money transfers. Some reports say his testimony connected a tender boss and an accused hitman to persons close to former Minister Bheki Cele. These are serious claims that could change how people view past decisions inside the police service. It is important to be careful with words. Being named in testimony is not the same as being convicted in court. Bheki Cele has been a public figure for many years and has been involved in past controversies. He has denied wrongdoing in the past and has a right to respond to these new claims. At the same time, the public needs clear answers and independent checks so trust in the justice system can be restored. This balance between reporting allegations and protecting legal rights is a hard but vital part of a fair system. Some of Mkhwanazi's comments have also included careful qualifications, and he has reminded listeners that legal proof matters more than slogans. To analyze the situation, we must look at several angles. First, the content of the testimony. Mkhwanazi described contacts and exchanges that, if true, would suggest improper links between police leaders, politicians, and criminal figures. The Commission and Parliament will need to evaluate the documents and witnesses behind those statements. Second, the reactions from political leaders and opponents. Some politicians have urged full investigations, while others have questioned the process and said that the right legal steps must be followed. Third, the role of independent bodies, such as anti-corruption units and the courts, which may be called on to investigate further if the Commission finds credible evidence. People should watch how the Commission handles evidence and how fast independent agencies react. If investigators follow paper trails, bank records, and phone logs, the facts will become clearer. If not, suspicion will grow and public trust will fall. The media also has a duty to report carefully, to check facts, and to give space for replies from those accused. Investigative journalism and strong public institutions must work together to keep the system honest. We should also consider the history of oversight in South Africa. Commissions and inquiries have sometimes led to reforms, but in other cases they produced findings that were ignored or diluted. The Madlanga Commission is meant to be thorough and public. It is chaired by a respected retired judge and has the power to call witnesses and request documents. That gives it strong tools to test Mkhwanazi's claims. Yet commissions take time and their recommendations must be turned into action by political and legal institutions that are willing to follow the facts and apply the law. What are the broader implications? If the claims are proven, it could show that criminal syndicates influenced parts of law enforcement or that political power was used to shield or favor certain actors. This would damage public trust and could lead to resignations, new prosecutions, and institutional reform. If the claims are not proven, the episode still highlights weaknesses in oversight and communication inside the police. In either case, the justice system will face pressure to improve records, strengthen independent oversight, and make sure that decisions are transparent and accountable. Voices on this story vary. Supporters of Mkhwanazi say he has courage to speak out and that his testimony is a necessary step to clean up the system. Critics say witnesses must be verified and proper legal steps followed before reputations are damaged. Some civil society groups call for urgent reforms to reduce interference in prosecutions and to protect investigators from political pressure. The mix of views shows why a careful, transparent process matters and why the public must see clear evidence and reasoned findings before final judgments are made. What might happen next? The Madlanga Commission and parliamentary committees will keep working. Notices have been issued to people named in testimony, and further hearings are expected. Legal teams will study phone records, financial links, and witness statements. There could be criminal investigations if new evidence supports that route. Politically, parties will use the events to argue for reforms or to attack rivals, and public pressure may push for faster action. International observers and business leaders will also watch closely, because trust in the rule of law affects investment and stability. For people who care about the rule of law, this moment can be a turning point. It can be a chance to demand better checks and balances,
let's zoom out and talk
stronger
implications,
anti-corruption
because
steps,
this isn't just about
and
one
clearer
general
rules about
and his
how
beef
police
with the
and
bosses.
politicians interact.
SAPS is the backbone of our
It can
democracy.
also be a test of
the
institutions,
thin blue line between
where the
chaos
courts,
and order in a country
commissions,
where crime
and parliament
stats
will
make
act
headlines
independently
weekly.
and with
If
courage.
Mkhwanazi's right, and corruption's
Citizens
woven
can
into
follow
the
the
fabric,
Commission's
every
reports,
arrest, every
support
raid,
investigative
every promise of
journalism,
safety starts looking
and ask
suspect.
elected leaders
We're
for
talking a
accountability.
justice system on life support,
In closing,
where politicians
this is a
treat the
complex
police
story
like their
with
personal
serious
hit
allegations
squad,
and high
and
stakes.
whistleblowers end up in body
We must
bags.
demand full,
Remember the
fair,
apartheid
and
days?
public processes.
When the force was a weapon of the state.
We must respect
Well,
the rights of those
echoes
named
of that
to
politicization
respond,
are back,
while also
louder than
insisting
ever,
that the truth
and
be
it's
found.
eroding trust faster than
The
you can say
coming weeks
state
and
capture
months will show
2.0.
whether South Africa
On
can
the
use
flip
this
side,
moment to
the
rebuild
government's
trust in
response
its
so
criminal
far is
justice
promising,
system, or whether the
setting
same
up
old
this committee
problems will
shows they're
persist.
listening, at least on paper.
If you found this video
Masemela's
helpful,
public backing
please
of
subscribe
Mkhwanazi
to
is
the
a good
channel
sign,
and click the bell
and
so
with
you get
opposition
new
parties
updates.
baying for blood,
Tell
there's
us in
pressure
the
for
comments
real
what you
accountability.
think. Do you
But
trust
here's
the
the
Commission
million-rand
to find the
question.
truth?
Will this lead to
Should more
change or just
independent
another report
investigators
gathering
get
dust?
involved?
We've seen it before.
What
The
reforms
arms
would you
deal,
like to
the
see to
Nhlanhla
keep
saga,
politics out of
Zondo's mountain of
policing?
findings that moved molehills.
Share your view and discuss
Critics fear it's a
respectfully.
controlled burn,
Thanks
letting
for
Mkhwanazi
watching.
vent while protecting